when being brave makes the biggest difference and
Hmm.
separates you the most, right, from the competition.
Yeah.
Through my career, there have always been these moments when you talk about, in a downturn. Not all of our listeners have been through so many downturns, but we're kind of in a bumpy time now.
Yeah.
And that's when the big company, that's when you see big generations of new companies rising because they're brave. They they stake their claim and they commit to it at a time when everybody else is like, maybe I should just take a beat here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when you say thinking brave, what are some of the, is that the aspect of sort of your tone, your attitude, approach to risk taking?
Yeah.
I'm imagining it has a lot to do with, being genuine
Yeah.
and transparent. But what does that sum up to for you?
Well, in B2B, we love our abbreviations and our acronyms, and who doesn't love a good acrostic? And so I've been talking a lot about BRAVE, which to me it's BRAVE is brand, relationships, audacity, values, energy, right? And I've been doing a lot of keynotes and a lot of workshops about literally what we're talking about. And I found myself, talking about how do you make decisions? How do you stand out? How do you take calculated risks? How do we do everything that we're talking about here, Clark? And I was like, well, I found myself saying things enough, and I was like, okay, let's come up with a way to share it. And if you can ask yourself, is this thing that I'm about to do, or could do, or is this outside of the box thinking? Is it smart? You need something to help you make that clear, right, for yourself and for your team and for your business. And so there's this thing I put together that's brave. So it's B, brand is this thing that I could do in alignment with how I want to be positioned, me as a person or the company that I'm serving long term. R, does it help me build relationships with people that I want to know, like, and trust me long term? Or am I just, trying to appeal to the masses? A, is it audacious? Literally what we were just talking about. Am I holding space for creativity, or am I like trying to play it safe and do what I think everybody else is doing just for the sake of, kind of falling in line? V, do I even know my values? And is it in alignment with them? And E, is it breathing energy? Is it giving energy? Or is it actually draining the life out of the room, or, the project that we're working on? So that's high level. I have found that helps me, and my clients and a lot of people that I talk to make those decisions, to take those moonshots in a way that's not just adding more chaos and using up very, very valuable resources.
What I love about, obviously there's a lot to unpack with the
Yeah.
brave acronym, but ending on the energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we're seeing, we're laying this down in summer of 2025, and the new coverage of life in Silicon Valley, whatever geographically that means, across, in tech, is more of a shut up and grind mentality,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's certainly not what I was raised on. I don't think it's what you've probably founded your three companies on. And so, do you see that shift? You work with many clients, right? You see a lot of business models. You see a lot of cultures, and I would imagine that the E is sometimes, I don't know, maybe people think it's going to be a lowercase e at the beginning, but it may become really important.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
That's such a good way of putting it. I think that that's absolutely true. I think when we're in situations like we are right now, and that we have been, unfortunately, for a long time, we don't think we have a choice, right? It's, well, this is on the to-do list, do more with less, the pressure's on, the sky is falling and the floor is crumbling out from beneath us. So I have no choice but to just do the thing. And
Yeah.
especially if you are in a leadership position, which most of us are, whether we fully realize it or not, we're leading something, we're leading a decision, we're leading a project where we have some sort of autonomy. If you can step back for a second and say, does this give me or us energy? And if the answer honestly is no, you owe it to yourself and to the greater good and to your audience and to your teammates to at least talk about it and say, is there a different way that we could approach this? Are you feeling this too? And I'm not just saying, oh, it's just a grind, oh, I'm just tired today. I'm saying, like, something about this doesn't feel right. Like, something about this doesn't feel like it's the best use of the valuable resources that we have, or something about this feels like we're just checking a box. Because chances are, what they would always say in class, like raise your hand, ask the question, because chances are somebody else has it too. When you're brave enough to ask that like energy question of like, is this just me? At the
Hmm.
very least, maybe you can reignite your own energy. But what's more probable is that you're going to bring something into the light of like, yeah, maybe we do need to rethink this. Maybe we need to approach this in a different way. Maybe we need to adjust the timeline or the expectations. And the outcomes will be better, not just for team and for culture, but for revenue and for the ROI and
For
again
outcomes.
the
Yeah.
expenditure of very, very valuable resources.